Welcome in, everybody. We're officially in double digits, week 10 of the college football season. Welcome into Head to Head. He's Mike McCoy. I'm Simone. Eli, Alabama coming off of the bye week and preparing for a huge top 20 matchup against LSU in Tuscaloosa on Saturday. We're going to talk everything bye week, of course, the win over Tennessee, and then Alabama now preparing for a huge matchup with the Tigers. Let's go head to head. All right, guys, we are talking LSU, Alabama, but before we do, it is Halloween week, and what a night for Halloween, Mike. You have children, I have a son, and of course, the one night that we have to be outside at night, it's freezing here in Alabama. What was y'all's Halloween like?
It was extremely cold, but we had a good time. I mean, he's getting the concept. I mean, look, it's a different type of joy. Stuff that I said I would never do as a parent, I find myself doing.
Yeah. Did you dress up? Did you dress up yourself or just dress up the kids?
Just the kids, you know. I'm too gangster for that.
I feel like, what were they dressed up as? What were they for Halloween?
My little boy was Spider-Man, his alter ego, Peter Parker.
Nice.
And my little girl was a sunflower.
Oh, that's precious. I did not dress up either. I'm also too gangster for that, actually.
There we go.
And we just can't. Man, like props to the parents that have that dedication and time. We don't. But my son was Woody, and he had a great time. Although the concept part is still coming, not quite too. And he thought he could just take the entire basket himself, rather than like just a piece. And there was no thank you. So we're trying to get thank you involved. And anyways, hopefully that comes at some point. But a good time nonetheless. It's chilly, though. It's chilly this week as Alabama welcomes in LSU this weekend. Want to thank our sponsor, the Alabama Cattlemen's Association. Mike, it's the bye week. Of course, Alabama coming off of the bye week for their season. And I feel like the bye week was always welcome, probably for players in the SEC, because your body just going through it, you probably needed that break.
Yes and no. For us at Alabama, when Coach Saban, there's no such thing as a bye week. It is almost worse because he has something that he goes into camp mode. And I mean, we go one-on-ones. You get a chance to you do get a chance to recover because you know you're not going to war. But as far as practice, the intensity, weight room, you're still doing all that. And they're going to make sure they get those lifts in. You get a chance to kind of work on what other teams are doing. You get prepared for teams down the road. So it honestly is kind of like it's like a refresher right before you take your finals as in college.
Yep. This is the final stretch for Alabama, and it's better to go into the bye week with a win, of course, and big win over Tennessee, 34-20. I feel like this team, I think they're starting to get to this point where it's no longer proving people wrong. It's proving that they continue to be the Alabama team that they have been for several years and under Nick Saban.
Right, without question. I think this team is starting to get an identity. Now, the word they came up with is still weird. Lang.
I saw a T-shirt with that, and I thought of you because we talked about it, and you said they could have found something cooler.
Lame. How about that? Somebody should have came up with something else. But hey, it's a brotherhood, so I'm riding with it.
Yep.
But I was extremely proud. The defense they're playing lights out. They're playing good football, and Bama looks like they're becoming a complete team. They have yet to play a complete game, which is a great thing. You save the best for last, and I think we got to win out this West, and I think this game is going to be crucial getting ready to go into it.
It really, really is, and LSU might have 2 losses, including one in conference play, but we do know that this offense is jam up. Jaden Daniels is impressive. He can do just about everything on the ground, in the air, read option, you name it. The guy is just explosive. How big of a threat and how big of a challenge do you foresee him being for this Tide defense throughout this game?
Honestly, looking at the schedule and looking who we have and have to go against, I would say he's probably the best quarterback, most complete quarterback that we will see. And if we can if we can stay in those gaps, we can contain them and apply much pressure. If we take away him, he is the X factor of the game.
LSU is scoring more than 47 points per game, kind of unheard of. And I mean, this day and age, I know that it's all about what you can do offensive star power wise. And we'll talk about the LSU defense and where the weaknesses are as well. But he also has a boatload of weapons around him. He's not out there trying to do it all by himself. I mean, he has some of the best receivers in the country right there with him on the roster.
Underrated receivers. They don't get a ton of press. They don't get a ton of coverage. So I'm 47 points. I was a little taken back once I started reading the stat line. I was like, hold on. But apparently they're the number one offense in the country. And week in, week out, they're going to do it. So Bama going to have to be in that playbook because he was good last year. But I think they're better this year.
Yeah, Brian Kelly certainly starting to get his type of scheme in, and guys really starting to take to that, as you can see. Jalen Milroe has really come into his own, and you said this early in the year when people were talking about the quarterback battle and we were seeing several different guys in there. You said, let this guy do what he was recruited to do, and dang, were you right, Mike. I got to give you props on that because, I mean, Jalen has totally just come into his own. He can throw the heck out of the ball. Yes, there's mistakes. He's not a perfect quarterback, but who is? How impressed have you been by him to this point, and how encouraged are you now moving forward into this big matchup?
I continue to say we haven't seen anything yet. I think he is going to be the forefront of your soon-to-be prototype quarterback in the NFL. You're going to, because the running back is becoming obsolete. Sad to say, but when you got a guy who can throw the deep ball like he can throw it, and he's only going to get better with time. Once he really gets comfortable and once he gets those guys up front to really protect him, oh my goodness. He's going to be on the Heisman watch. But I think the best is yet to come.
Well, he's there's no doubt that he is starting to really get more confidence. And I think that we saw that when he knew that he was going to be the guy. There was just a turning point where he felt like that confidence was coming. He's been great in press conferences leading up to games as well. We know Alabama is going to try to run the ball, but LSU is hurting in their secondary. And I think this is a huge opportunity for guys to really really go out there, prove that, hey, we are one of the high-powered offenses in this country. We can get this done against this LSU team at home in a night game. Who do you see maybe on the outside, on the perimeter, maybe having a breakout performance in this matchup, Mike?
What I would like to see is them to go ahead and just get a hodgepodge. Just go. You have about 6 receivers on that team at Alabama right now that will start anywhere else in the country.
True.
And it's either hit or miss with them. I don't think they are playing comfortable knowing that they're going to get the amount of ball. With those type of weapons, you got to put these guys in position. Be special. You got Kobe Prentice, who against A&M, put on a good showing in this past game. I mean, we barely saw him on the field, so I'm questioning that. We don't get Law. We do it. Burton has solidified himself as the number one. Yeah. But I mean, who's the number 2? We don't have a number 2, and I think you have 6 receivers on that team that can all step up and contribute to this offense. It's like having, I guess it's like being rich. Which car am I going to drive today?
It's been like that. It's been like that for a minute in Tuscaloosa for sure, with the amount of weapons just everywhere on the field. And this is really, like you said a minute ago, this is the second half of the season now with the bye week. The last 4 games you come into, you got Kentucky, Chattanooga, and then the Iron Bowl. But this is the one, Mike. I mean, this is the one that's likely going to determine the West, unless something just absolutely crazy happens to Alabama down the stretch. Do you feel as though the team takes that pressure in a way where they welcome it? I mean, like, hey, this is our game. This is our opportunity to show folks we are a national championship contender. Yes, the Texas game was a little bit of a hiccup, but we're going to be in the playoffs. That's where we belong. And we can continue to win national championships.
Honestly, I know people are going to be like, what? I will go to bat and say, I think Bama will win a national this year. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. And the reason I say it is because
you have it on tape.
You can quote me on it.
We got you quoted.
Now Georgia looks good. Now let's not get that twisted. Georgia looks good.
Yep.
I can't cuss on here, but they look good. but I'm going to say the fact that Bama has not played a complete game and they're only gaining momentum, that's a scary thing.
Yep.
And a team like this, like Alabama, you have to stomp them out early. If it's a juggernaut head to head, they're going to come out on top because they are a second half and a fourth quarter team.
Yep.
So this is the game to do it. This is going to determine it because I'm not worried about really anybody else. Don't get me wrong, the Iron Bowl is always going to be the Iron Bowl. But
you never know.
We know when the SEC, this championship is going, this game is going to determine who's going to win the West.
Yep. Well, it's also Nick Saban's birthday week. Of course, he turned 72 years old on Halloween. So you know that not only is he wanting a big win on his birthday week, but also to take control in the West. It's a 6:45 kickoff at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Mike, let's talk predictions. When this game ends, sometime late in the night, it's probably going to be chilly in Tuscaloosa. What do you foresee on that scoreboard there at Bryant-Denny?
Ooh. Give me 42.
Wow, shootout.
38. Bama.
A legit shootout. Okay.
Shootout.
You know, I like the score, and I totally think that, of course, where these offenses are right now, we can see those type of points put up. I don't think that's the type of game that Alabama wants to get into. I don't think that's the type of game that anybody wants to get into. But when it comes to explosive playmaking, it's not like that's always been a consistent thing for Alabama this entire season. We will see. I have 34-28 Alabama, so not too far off behind you there. I do think there's going to be a lot of points put on the board because Jaden Daniels is a dynamic quarterback who is a dual threat guy, and so is Jalen Milroe. So we will see. We will see who can take off and who can make stops. It's going to be really the biggest question: is who can make the most amount of stops and make the most of their offensive possessions as well. Mike, it's going to be a fun one. Can't wait for this one.
I got to watch this game from my phone. How about this? I know y'all got to go, and I got to go too. My niece is getting married on Saturday. I said, out of all the weekends in America, they were supposed to get married this time next year.
I thought there was a rule in life that you didn't get married from like September to December.
This is what y'all don't realize. My niece is an opera singer. You haven't met very many black opera singers, right?
Okay.
And her husband is a church boy. They don't watch sports like that.
Lord.
So I'm probably gonna be watching my phone at the wedding. So I've already prepared.
What time is the ceremony? Let's talk about what time the ceremony is, so we can at least map out your evening.
When is it? I don't even know. I have to even ask my wife. I don't know.
Well, as long as by 6:45 you're at the reception, nobody's going to blame you. I mean, if you got your phone right there, quite frankly, if I was getting married in the fall, which would never happen, I would have a TV set up for folks. If I was going to do that to folks, I would have a TV set up for folks.
I just hope we can have a beer at the wedding reception. I don't even know.
Opera singer and a church boy. It might be BYOB, but good luck on that, Mike. We will see.
All right.
All right, brother. All right, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Head to Head. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Brought to you by Alabama Beef Farmers and Ranchers.